Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with selections for Thursday, the 12th of May. But first, a quick recap on today's performance, Wednesday. Well, it's been a disappointing day, really. Nothing really went to plan. The only horse that actually ran a decent race, well, it wasn't even a decent race. It managed to get fourth when they was paying an extra place, which is a qualifying place, and that was Garrus. Everything else was generally just below average. Dark Jedi was very disappointing in the first. Mr. Wagyu was it made a bit of a move, but could never really get competitive. So moving quickly onwards, let's get on to Thursday's selections. So I have three selections for York and one selection for Salisbury. So here goes. The selections are to be included in a 50 pence each way, lucky 15, and £1 each way on each selection, a total of £23. Feel free to put lower stakes on if that's what you want to do. The first selection is Victorious Night at 100 to 30 in the 1 o'clock at Salisbury. Well, this race is an apprentice race, and if I'm being honest, I don't know much about the jockey. Its last three performances is came fifth on horses all trained by Richard Hannon. Well, today's is trained also by Richard Hannon. This horse is noted in the Racing Post as will be seen at its best when it gets an easy lead. Well, I don't know how they can make that. It's only ever led once in its entire career, which is I don't know about a dozen runs somewhere around there, dozen 15 runs. It's led once and come last. Well, it's actually ran its best races when it's been mid-division and made a late move. What I would like to see this horse do is probably race around fourth place, not hard pressed early on, and then gradually up it from there. I think the jockey does seem okay because all the horses that he rode for Richard Hannon, I think the last three, were all big prices and actually ran pretty decent. So I think it's one of those where they can't use the whip. They can carry the whip, but they can't use the whip. So it's an interesting race. But all right, don't get me wrong, 100 to 30 is not really a sensible price each way, but I think it's got a decent chance of winning. The second selection is Strong Power at 14 to 1 in the 150 at York, paying 5 places instead of 3. First of all, I think the high draw is going to favour it. Secondly, I really think Alice Haynes would like a winner at York. She started her training career pretty well, really. Well, this horse, I'll just flick onto its form. It's been plying its trade on the all weather, and that's where all the improvement has come from. But right, as you can see, it was given a break just during Christmas, reappeared on 1st of January. Yeah, there was improvement. It started off at 65 and has now shot up to 95. So that's £30 improvement. Well, in between that, if it had run on the, well, it's not really going to because it's winter, but if it had run on the turf and ran disappointed, I would have eliminated this horse because I would have thought, yeah, it's just an all-weather horse, but it hasn't run on the turf. Well, it couldn't run on the turf at the time, but they saved it for York. Bearing in mind, it's had the chance to run at Doncaster, at Newbury, all the biggest meetings, and it showed loads of pace. Well, if I scroll down to its last turf performance, it's actually like 73, rated 73, official rating, Racing Post rating of 70. So it is actually competitive when it was running on the turf. Yep, only beaten 3 lengths, 3 lengths again, 3 lengths again, 5 lengths. So it's not been beaten too far. And that was with George Scott, by the way. Now it's trained by Alice Haynes. Like there you go then at Leicester. Yeah, it basically racing. Official rating is 74. Racing Post rating of 82. On good to firm, first time blinker. So it was in decent form then, and then it continued its improvement on the all weather. So I think it is actually equally at home on the turf. Well, if that's the case, it's rated only 87 on the turf, whereas 94 on the all weather. So it could be £7 well in straight away compared to its all weather form. So I think it's definitely got a good chance. If I'm being honest, Kieran O'Neill, who trains regularly for this trade, I don't know if it's closely connected to it or what, but he must know this horse inside out. He will have told the trainer, no, I don't think it's good enough, or I think it could be competitive. I just find it quite interesting. So, and definitely an interesting horse. And just to cap it off, if you look at the last run, it ran behind Night on Earth. Well, I tipped Night on Earth in a decent race at Chester, and I'm pretty sure you can remember the amount of speed that that horse showed on the day. And as you can see, in touch with leader, so it was right up there. So it's got pace to burn, and I think it's letting quite lightly on its turf mark. So enough rambling about that horse. So let's go on to the third horse, where the third horse is Trace Fleurs at 13-2 in the 3 o'clock at York, paying 5 places instead of 3. Well, I think this is going to be a bit of a gamble tomorrow, so I've taken the price. That's not the race. So Trace Fleurs, this is the form of this horse. Right, as you can see very shortly, well, as you can see straight away, Sylvester de Souza has ridden this horse regularly. Sylvester de Souza rides tomorrow. This horse has run at York in the past. Right, once disappointed, but it looks like it will come to the end of the season where to basically had enough anyway. It only beat seven horses home at Newmarket, then failed to beat only two home at York. So if you go to the beginning, it was rated actually when it started the season 106. Obviously, I'm guessing it maybe not up to that anymore, but it was still peppering the Racing Post ratings of about 98. So if I just go to this year's form, it's now only rated 87. Well, let's look what it's done so far. So 16th of April in the Spring Cup, decent race, and also the Thurs Hunt Cup. If you have a look, took keen hold towards rear, pushed long, no impression. Yeah, so basically it was pretty much sat last, made late headway. Thirsk, towards rear, pushed along 2 furlong, bit short of room, never on terms. So as the jockey said, Gelding was denied a clear run 2 out. So it hasn't had the best runs. I think it's been lined up for a decent run tomorrow. Mick Channon does like a winner at York. Well, don't get me wrong, they all like a winner at York, but I just think this slightly slower ground, it could be like good ground, and I think it'll be making ground later on. I do think it's got a very good chance. And finally, Royal Patronage at 11-2 in the 3:35 at York, paying 4 places instead of 3. Basically, long story short, this horse ran an okay race in the Guinness. It led, it actually made the pace, but I think it's crying out for 1 mile 2, 1 mile 4. It's bred to want that far. And I think if it goes to the front, York can suit front runners. It does tend to suit those that run with the pace, although horses can come from behind. But I think Royal Patronage will make all tomorrow, or at least make all enough to come in the first 4. I do think it's got a cracking chance of winning. Jason Hart, the regular jockey, takes the ride. So yeah, an interesting bet. So there's my 4 selections for Thursday, the 12th of May. But if you got this far, please can you give me a like, a subscribe, and you can even buy me a coffee if you want to in the link below. The very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.